This episode is about preventing domestic abuse. I'd like to thank Dr. Shweta Raina for coming in to help with advice about possible abusers. She's been a comforting friend to a lot of people and has given relationship advice and spotted micro changes in behavior patterns and prevented people from getting into relationships with serial abusers. I'm truly grateful to her for sharing her knowledge and giving us a bit of her time.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shweta and I work in a government hospital in Delhi. I'm here to talk about red flags and how I feel I can help people by learning how to recognize them. So anything that you feel as a pinch or as a warning signal somewhere in your head that things are not okay accounts for a red flag. First of all, the problem lies with us that we ourselves might end up becoming the biggest red flag magnets. So, if people who suffer from low self esteem and who have had some past series of bad relations or have had issues with trust and or have the fear of missing out or have some certain kind of insecurities that make them feel deprived or make them feel like they have a void, give them a sense of loneliness, etc. These are the kinds of people that could end up being as red flag magnets. So basically, having low self-esteem means you allow people who are narcissists, who are emotionally abusive, who are manipulators to you know to destroy you. So these are the kind of people that are usually the biggest bearers of red flags. So first thing is that you must learn to recognize why exactly do you want to be in a relationship. Your relationship should help you be a person, to be who you are or be a better version of yourself. You should not be in a relationship where you end up being a detective.
Red flags in a relationship are warning signs which tell about the partner and what is happening in the relationship. Red flags are basically warning signs which tell you that something is not right. The partner could be manipulative. I'm saying it could be a boy or a girl who's the partner, could be manipulative or using you for some other ulterior motive. So it's important to spot these signs and keep your brain actively thinking and calculating all the time, analyzing. Now, let me explain one more thing. Loving somebody and falling in love are two different things. When you love somebody, it is just a very balanced form of love. You can love your parents, you can love your partner, you can love your girlfriend, you can love your wife, you can love your dog, you can love your sisters, brothers, etc. You can love your children. So in that you see love in a complete positive, wholesome way. But falling in love is a concept where one becomes obsessive with the object of this particular affection. One sees no option and there's no way out. And one will sacrifice oneself or not even accept any defects of that person which one notices. So one has to be very conscious about what is love when getting into a relationship. I asked her about the concept of opposites attract into a relationship. People of two different personalities, completely opposing points of view, get into a relationship. What is this about? Could you tell us something about this?
So, a lot of times people find the idea of opposites attracting very intriguing and very interesting. They feel that it's a very nice dynamics to have. But the reality is that attracting a person who's getting along with a person who is opposite to you is rather difficult. It takes a lot of adjustment. There's a lot of demand versus supply issues. There's a lot of reality versus expectation issues. And it might really not end up being as attractive as you want it to be.
Then I asked her, couples do get into fights, arguments, debate, it could lead to them shouting at each other. This is not classified as abusive behavior. So it is considered normal and healthy also. So could you tell us about it?
Also, as couples, it's absolutely normal to fight. You stop fighting either when you've attained a level of maturity and understanding, acceptance, or you stop fighting when you feel detached and you feel that there's nothing more to look forward to. So you fight whether you've in any of in either of the cases. It's important to know what are you fighting for, whether it's for respect, it is for control, or it is for care. So, in the end, I would suggest that you should always pursue integrity, depth, and joy in a relationship. You should know what are the reasons for which you want this relationship to work. And that's a very key differentiator for you to understand whether it's a red flag or a green flag. Indifference, neglect, contempt, and violence. Any form of microaggression in the form of can qualify as violence. These are the four keys factors which are red flags. So now what will happen is any symptom that makes you feel that there is indifference, there is neglect, there is contempt, there is violence in a relationship, even if it's emotional, if it's just there's no physical violence, there's a lot of emotional harassment, that itself qualifies for red flags. Like small things like how they behave with their parents, with their siblings, the kind of relationship that their parents had amongst themselves, because the quality of their parents' relationship affects the quality of their marriages, the children's marriages. Because when parents are in bad relationships, they lose total control over the child and their behavior. So a lot of times the child is getting into bad habits, is has some abnormal coping mechanisms, and the parents are just coping for their own absence in the child's upbringing by means of money or anything else, or any materialistic things that they can buy. So a lot of times children learn from their parents' marriages and make sure that what the same that it is not does not get repeated in their marriages. But at the same time, a lot of children turn into victims even in their adulthood, even as adults.
Then I asked her about red flags in behavior patterns.
Another thing is that please try to see how the person values your time. How much do they respect the people around you? How do they talk to the people who are lower than them in stature, in power, in wealth, etc.? And how do they talk to people who are there, and versus how do they talk to people who they are answerable to? So that's a very interesting thing. So when your partner is indifferent towards you, they might talk to everyone nicely, but you. And when the person that is a red flag, and also it accounts for a red flag when the person is talking very rudely to someone who is lower than them in power, wealth, etc., status, etc. So they say that character is, power is the best. Uh, is the best when you're in power. It's the best way to decide the strength of your character. So that's a very important thing. Another thing is that try to see the pattern of their past. I'm not saying that you should dig too deep into their past, but you should definitely keep your eyes and ears open to the things they tell you themselves about their past, without turning into paranoid, because past is the best predictor of future. And if a person makes a mistake once or twice, and then it's a mistake, but the third time it's probably a pattern and it's deliberate. So the same thing is for you. So once you are a sufferer, two twice you're a sufferer, and then you fall into a pattern of becoming a victim, and then you start lowering and your own level of dignity, and you allow people to to treat you badly. So that applies both the ways. So like in the end, I just want to tell you that I've repeated this before, but please try to recognize any forms of um, any symptom which falls into the category of problems in as like indifference, neglect, contempt, and violence.
I'd like to thank you, Dr. Shweta, for giving us your time and your wisdom. Some of your friends, some of your close friends who you've helped would like to convey their thanks to you. You have been an absolute angel to some of your friends. Some of your friends have told me that you've been at critical times in their extremely depressive states. You've gone out and done that extra thing to make them happier and to comfort them. Some other friends of yours, you've helped them to avoid a tragedy of a broken relationship by spotting red flags in advance before things went out of control. Once again, Dr. Shweta, I'm grateful to you for the time you've given me and just for the way you are. Thank you. God bless you. When you get into a relationship, it's an investment of emotions, investment of loyalty. How much do you trust the person? 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%? You decide. How loyal is that person? 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%? You decide. It's important to understand the person thoroughly before placing your heart in that person's hands. Please remember that.